Welcome to MGTOW. Please like, rate and subscribe for more content.
Turd-flinging monkey recently finished a video series called Solutions. Since we are also interested in solutions, it's time for us to give our perspective. To start out, we all have lots of respect for TFM and his ideas. He's a smart guy who has done a lot for us in MGTOW awareness. However, we are concerned about his willingness to ride fourth wave feminism, and his lack of actionable steps for this series was disappointing. So let's get started. Identifying as trans women is not an option for self-respecting men who want to climb heights necessary to have a meaningful impact on the world. Atheists did not challenge creationism and religious delusion by joining them. They stuck to the facts, and openly mocked them. Despite what feminists would have you believe, gender dysphoria is not a common trait. Simply identifying as trans will be condoning the medically questionable practice of male-to-female sex reassignment surgery. Encouraging men to identify as female will never truly empower men. At best, this is a stupid idea. At worst, it's actively disempowering men and people with mental illness. Next, we have to talk about how some serious male problems have been left out of the equation. The average young man is slightly overweight, barely educated, and kept out of unionized trades. This demographic is what needs direction and would benefit the most from a video series on solutions. We're not accusing you of being ignorant to these issues, but this has to do with a bigger focus on society rather than the individual. It's our opinion that we must change, in order for society to change. This means for the world to care about our opinions we must gain wealth and influence. I propose we set up a foundation or a coalition of foundations for MGTOW. Voluntary organizations that work to empower men in Western feminist countries. These organizations would focus on providing or sharing low-cost education, skills training and entrepreneurship opportunities. By building our own institutions from scratch, we can focus on results, rather than feminist ideals. Providing the direction, resources and opportunity that men require to take on our corrupt governments and struggling economy. We can also take advantage of resources already available online for these purposes as well. As these organizations become more effective and other men start seeing the results, more will join us. Those who say political action is useless are right. Men's interests have been completely discarded by special interest groups. Setting up our own organizations will even the playing field. Our organizations don't need the bureaucracy government has, because it's going to be voluntary. To get these started, we can get working on what we call the MGTOW Opportunities Project. This will be an initiative to identify demand for work and small business opportunities. By doing some research, we can identify ways for men to start serving demand for products or services. By taking a collaborative approach, we can achieve more success by building on each other's work, making it easier for individual men to start offering products and services. Once this becomes a valuable resource and we are taking advantage of the opportunities around us, we can start donating the funds to get institutions created. Like an organization that can pay for job-specific certifications and training that is usually lower than the cost of a formal education. We can offer this with a tradition of donating funds back to keep the initiative going. This way more men upgrade their marketable skills and we have more options for entrepreneurship. So that was a brief overview of our short-term suggestions for MGTOW solutions. There will be much more to come and we can lay out more details if people need. Right now we need to start working together to create and share opportunities for other men. This way we can gain more independence from our corrupt society. Back to your video. You talk about technological solutions for our gynocentric culture. This is why we discussed creating organizations, that way we could fund research for these kinds of ideas. Things like artificial wombs, reliable male birth control and other innovations. The idea of society facing a collapse isn't a new one, but there is strong evidence that our society is held up by unsustainable foundations. The economic fabric of our nations has been hollowed out, as the social fabric has been torn apart through lack of identity. That's why MGTOW is so important. We as men need to be ourselves and embrace our own identity. I made a previous video about our thoughts on the last hour compromise. If this society collapses, the patriarchy we face will be a fascist one. To be frank, most of us might not make it. That's why we must create our own institutions to gain wealth and power, so that we can make the transition phases a lot more bearable for ourselves. If we hold the majority of the wealth creation, we can use that to demand our freedoms. With wealth and freedom we could slow, stop or control the outcome of any crash. It's our view that for men, there was no economic recovery. We are in a depression. Once the government and financial institutions can no longer pretend that it's business as usual, the government will start plundering all they can to remain in power. If we are informed, armed and resourceful, maybe we can protect ourselves from what's yet to come.
Please remember to like, rate and subscribe for more videos. Don't forget to check out our website and share our content with other MGTOW.